You have to excuse this very unaesthetic setting for this update of Project Pan because I still haven't set up my vanity. All my furniture is still moving around different parts of the house. This is like a temporary table that we have in the living room to put our, plates and glasses on while while we're having dinner. Unfortunately, this is what we have to work with. I'm sorry, but we're going to do an update because I'm late once again to give you an update on these products. I know that monthly updates make a lot more sense with something like this, but sometimes just it's hard. Life gets in the way and I have to leave it to 2-month updates. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to do April and May together. I know that May isn't over yet, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the update anyway because I don't plan on wearing too much makeup. Maybe there'll be a couple more uses of each of these products between now and the end of May. So I'll give you the updated numbers in the next update because I am tracking uses. And yeah, but let's go ahead and jump into it and hope that I don't lose any of my products in these little holes here because yeah, this table is full of stuff, so it's gonna be hard to fish them out. But anyway, let's get into it. As always, we're starting with a concealer, and I don't have a visual representation of where we are. There were quite a few good suggestions about weighing the product and using a torch to see it, to see through it. But the torch thing didn't work. I tried, it didn't. I don't know what this glass is made of. And weighing the product, yeah, I don't really have a scale right now. I didn't weigh it at the beginning. I didn't have a scale since I was moving around. So basically, weighing it was not an option. So we're just going to go on number of uses, and maybe one day we will get a bit of actual windowing or something, because I definitely do notice that the product is lighter, but I can't tell you how much lighter. So we're going to go through the uses. In February, I used it 9 times. In March, I used it 15 times. In April, I used it 17 times. And in May, I used it 11 times. Like I said, I might use it a couple more times before the end of the month, but I think that's a good wrap-up number for May so far. So my goal with this is to finish it by the end of the year, and so far we've used it 52 times, and there is still plenty left in here. So we'll have to see. I'm not too worried because this is a product that I use every single time I do my makeup, or not every single time, but most times that I do my makeup, I'll use this. So I'm just going to continue using it. I know that I use it at least 10 to 15 times every month, and so I'm not worried about it. But it is frustrating not to see exactly where we are. But yeah, I'm going to get this out of the way because I know you want to see the before and afters. And this one's not the greatest one. So, so far, so good. I think that we're just on track to finishing it. Will we be able to finish it by the end of the year? That remains to be seen. But either way, I'm using it, so I'm happy about it. Next up is the Charlotte Tilbury powder. This one rolled in from last year, and my goal is to finish it this year. And look at how we're doing. We're almost there. It's reached the point where I'm scraping it off the sides, and I'm struggling to get product out. But I thought of repressing it in the middle. It's just that I don't want to do it because I know that the minute I do that, it's going to start crumbling everywhere. It's going to die on me. So I'm going to just continue to use my brush on the sides and hope for the best. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be gone by next update, and that will be like my first makeup finish of the year. But yeah, so far so good with this. I'm happy. It's looking disgusting in the middle. All pans get very grubby after a while. But yeah, I'm still scraping through it, and I'm happy that I'm almost done with it. In February, I used it 9 times. In March, I used it 10 times. In April, I used it 12 times. And in May, I used it 11 times. So 42 times total this year, plus every time I'd used it the year before. I think that even for a mini, this is actually, a good deal. I'm actually getting quite a lot of use out of it. Maybe if you're a lot oilier or do a lot of touch-ups, you might fly through it a lot quicker. But if you just apply it once when you do your makeup, this should last you long enough. But yeah, hopefully this is gone by next month and we will have our first rollout. So that's very exciting. Now it's time for blush, and we're going to start with Merit Flush Balm in Beverly Hills. my very ambitious goal with this is to finish it, and I don't think I'm going to be able to because there is quite a lot of product in here. I'm going to set that goal because I want to see how far I can get by the end of the year because I love this blush. So I used this 9 times in February, 4 times in March, 6 times in April, and 4 times in May for a total of 23 uses. And I can definitely see that the dome is getting flatter. I don't know if that is maybe just an optical illusion I'm seeing, but I do feel like it's getting flatter and flatter every time I use it or every time I show it in an update. I do want to feel like it is because I want to feel like I'm progressing. It's only 23 uses, but 23 uses is, quite a good chunk of uses. And I think it's enough uses that you should start to see some kind of progress. So let's hope that this is actually visible, but I do feel like it's getting flatter. And I'm going to continue using this because I love it. But I definitely think that setting the goal of finishing this was very ambitious on my behalf, and I'm not going to reach it. But it doesn't matter because Project Pan is fun, and all I want to do is get use out of my product. So it doesn't matter if I don't reach my goals. No one is measuring me. So I'm very happy with how much I'm using this. I think these past couple of months I've been able to balance out the use of my blushes a little bit more. In my last update I mentioned that I was definitely prioritizing one over another. And now these past couple of months, you'll see with the next ones, but I think I've balanced it out quite well where I'm using more or less all of my blushes the equal amount of times. So yeah, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to continue using this until the end of the year. The next blush is Patrick Ta's Not Too Much, and I only have the cream version in my project pan, and this is where we currently are. So we still have kind of see those lines that I see are part of the pan. I checked and they are kind of part of the pan. But since I've been using this with my finger and I've tried to reach more for the edges, I think that those lines that were more visible in the last update have smoothed over because I'm not just digging my finger in the center, I'm actually using the whole thing. So it's probably pushing some product around, and that's why those lines are not as visible as the last update. But yeah, there is kind of a dip going on there, which should make sense because I used this 0 times in February, 7 times in March, 8 times in April, and 5 times in May for a total of 20 uses. My goal with this one is to use it 50 times. I don't have the goal of hitting pan, but I do want to use it 50 times because this is going to expire this month. And while it's fine, I'm still going to continue using it for months after it's expired, unless it starts smelling strange. I'm going to continue using it, but I wanted to get at least 50 uses out of it to justify the fact that I bought it. And I'll still be using the powder version as well, but those have a longer shelf life, or at least in my head they do. But yeah, this color is lovely. It's very, very similar to the Merit one. If you come side by side, they are very, very similar shades. They're that dusty rose kind of shade, but the Patrick Ta one is much more pigmented than Merit. So the Merit one is great for on the go or a quick makeup application because it's very, very hard to mess this up and overdo it. Whereas with the Patrick Ta one, I do find that you can mess it up and go a little bit overboard and have to kind of rectify the situation and put something else on top to counteract it. But still, I really like it. I think it has a great staying power. The staying power is better than the Merit one. The Merit Flesh Balm tends to last, at least on me, maybe 4 or 5 hours. A little bit longer if I set it with some kind of powder blush. But for the most part, 3, 4, 5 hours, that's the most I'm going to get out of it. Whereas this one, if I do a good job of applying it that day, it lasts probably, around an 8-hour mark, I would say, is when it starts really fading away. So yeah, this one has a better staying power and is more pigmented, but the color is basically the same. I definitely see a pattern in the color I like in blush. And next we have my powder blush, which is La Vie en Rose in the Blush of Paradise line from L'Oreal. This is discontinued, which is very sad because this color is great. But I've also been digging into this one. Sometimes I've set my Merit one with this one, and I do feel, and again, this may be an optical illusion, but I do feel like like the embossing is getting flatter and flatter. It's starting to disappear, especially around here. I don't know if that is just me being hopeful or if it actually is. You can kind of see on the side. I definitely notice a difference, so hopefully that's a sign that we're moving forward. So my goal is to hit pan on it, and so far I've used it 4 times in February, 5 times in March, 7 times in April, and 9 times in May. So 25 times this year, and I do feel like the embossing is a little flatter, but it looks like there's a long way to go until we hit pan. This seems like, it is a big blush. I can definitely see that the pan itself is quite big, but I have the feeling that it's also quite deep. So there are 9 grams of product here versus the 4 grams of the powder blush in the Patrick Ta, just for comparison. So it's like double the size of the Patrick Ta one. But yeah, definitely think we're getting somewhere, but I still think it's going to be a few months before we hit pan here. So I may be surprised. I hope I am, but I doubt it. Still love this though. This looks great on me in the summer, in the winter. It's the perfect shade for fair, neutral skin. I'm neutral leaning cool, and this is just the perfect bronzer kind of shade. So blush and bronzer, because when I tan, I kind of go more of this shade than an actual brown or orangey brown. So I love using this as bronzer and as blush and as everything. So I'm going to continue using it and hopefully hit pan in the next few months. I would really like to see pan in this year, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And talking about bronzer, this is the Hourglass Diffused Bronze Light Mini. And I remember I mentioned in the last update that I barely used this. And it's true, because in February and March, I used it 1 time in February and 1 time in March. So my goal of 50 uses was not going very well. But I did reach out for it a lot more in April and May. I used it 5 times in April and 7 times in May. So my total with this one is 14 out of the 50 uses that I want to give it. But we will never see it change, will we? It just looks exactly the same. I mean, I know that 14 uses is nothing, and especially with a baked product like this, it's very, very hard to start to see the dome kind of flatten. So I'm not expecting to see any changes on this ever in my life, I think. I could be using this for 2 years straight, and it would probably look almost exactly the same. The sad part is that it doesn't look great in these before and afters, because there is no before and after change, but I'm happy that I actually got to using it this time, because I put it in the project and I was completely neglecting it, and it doesn't make any sense. So 50 uses, and I've got 14 out of those 50. So we're okay. And now that summer is coming around, I know that I'm going to use this a lot more, because even though the L'Oreal one is like my perfect shade of bronzer, this one also has a bit of that red pinkish undertone to it, and it also looks quite natural on my skin. But it definitely looks a lot more bronzy than the L'Oreal one. So now that summer is coming around, this is going to be much more appropriate for my skin. It's going to look much more natural. Even though I don't really tan that much, my face does change color a little bit. And I get a lot of freckles and everything. And I just think that a bronzy look kind of suits me in the summer. So I'll be using this a lot more this summer, I think. But I doubt we will ever see any changes in the pan. Hey, I might be surprised. Maybe I look at this at the end of the year and I compare it to the intro and it looks completely different, but I just kind of doubt it. Anyway, I'm very happy that I included this because I've really enjoyed using it these past couple of months. And now we actually have our first pan of the year, which is very exciting. This is the Colourpop Supershock highlighter in Smoke and Whistles, which I'm using as eyeshadow. And look at that. we have our first pan. That is so exciting. I was not expecting to hit pan on this. I had no idea the depth of the pan. I last update I mentioned that I probably wasn't gonna be using this a lot until more like towards the end of the year, because it's very sparkly, and I don't know, it looked a lot more Christmas appropriate for me, but I did make an effort and I used it quite a lot in April and May. Just quick wash over the eyelids. And in one of those uses, I actually hit pan. Since I hit pan, obviously these are like a putty texture, so it's very easy to kind of just dig your finger and hit the pan. So since I was using just the center, I think it was relatively easy because I've been pushing the product towards the sides. So now when I'm using it, I'm trying to get the product from the sides to, kind of balance it out, because if I keep using the center, it's just gonna like gather in the sides, and I don't know, it bothers me for some reason. But I've used this 3 times in February, twice in March, 8 times in April, and 5 times in May, for a total of 18 out of those 50 uses that I want to get. So very happy that I've hit pan at 18 uses this year. But I'm still going to pursue those 50 uses because I don't know, I've been enjoying it and I think it looks pretty. It's a very easy eye look, so I'm just gonna try and use it in the summer as well and see how much we can expand the pan. Now that I have pan, I want to see how far I can get with it. But yeah, first pan of the project, that's very exciting. I was not expecting it to be this, absolutely not. So I'm very happy, and I'm also very surprised. Moving on to lips, this is the Kiko lip liner in number 5, one of the creamy color lip liners, and this is where we are right now. So my goal with this one is also to use it 50 times, and this is where we are at the moment. Definitely had to sharpen it a few times in the last couple of months because I have been reaching out for it a little bit more. I do struggle to reach out for it, but then when I do, I actually love the way it looks. I think this color really complements my skin. Someone mentioned in my 4 product makeup bag video, I think it was, where I wore the reddish tint, someone mentioned that I would probably suit those kind of mauvey roses more. And this is that color. You're right. I mean, those are the colors that I tend to gravitate towards when I'm not wearing red. So it's a shame that I don't reach out for it as often as I would like. These past couple of months, I have made an effort to use it more, but still, I think I need to really make an effort to remember that this lip liner is a gorgeous color. I use it all over my lips, by the way. I don't just line my lips because I don't love the look of just lip liner and then filling it in with something else. I tend to use my lip liners all over my lips. But this is a great base color for one of the other products I have on Project Pan. But anyway, I have had to sharpen it a couple of times since the last update, so we can definitely see a difference. We're going to guide ourselves through the letters because I did not do the little notebook thing. I just don't have the patience for that. I have my notebook where I write down the uses, but I just like measuring the products themselves and everything with a notebook. Sometimes I just kind of have to improvise these updates as my day goes along, so I can't really prepare like a notebook and everything for them. So we're going to guide ourselves through the letters here. So I can definitely see that we're closer to the creamy color letters here. And yeah, that is actually good news. So my goal with this one is 50 uses, and I used it twice in February, twice in March, 7 times in April, and 6 times in May, for a total of 17 uses. It does give me more of a autumn kind of look, so I don't know how often I'll be using it in the summer, but I'm not too bothered about that. I will wear an autumn lip in the summer with no problem. I don't care. And I think this can look very nice in the evening. So if I have any evening outings this summer, I will definitely pull this one out. I just have to remember to actually do it. Next is the Nivea Blackberry Shine, which again, I gave it the very ambitious goal of finishing it, and I'm starting to get scared that I did that because it is going down, but it's not going down as fast as I need it to if I want to complete it this year. But it doesn't matter. Again, this is just for fun. So this is how it looks inside. You can definitely see how it's going down into the tube. which gives me hope because I know that I'm using it. It's just there's so much product in here. It's crazy. So I used it 7 times in February, 6 times in March, 9 times in April, and 6 times in May for a total of 28. So this is where we are right now when we twist the product up completely. Obviously, it has gone down because I can see that I've been using it and I can see it go down. But still, there is a lot left. This is very intimidating. I see people like TikTok or on Reddit post like how they're flying through lip balms, and I get so jealous because I don't always want a purple lip. So I don't always reapply this several times throughout the day. Sometimes I'll put it on once and then just let it fade out. And sometimes I don't use it because it doesn't go with what I'm wearing or the other makeup that I've done. So, I mean, it's still progress. I can see the progress. I'm just getting overwhelmed that we're almost in June and there's still all of this left. So finishing it this year might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll have to see. Next lipstick I've also been using quite a lot in these past couple of months. It's the Kiko Smart Fusion lipstick in the color 405. It's like a rosy color. It has nothing to do with the sticker that's underneath. Like, this looks very pink, and then it's more of a browny rose, but anyway. We were guiding ourselves through the letters here on the bullet as well, and I can definitely see a difference with the last update. And that has to do with the fact that I used this quite a few times. So my goal is to use it 50 times, and I used it 8 times in February, twice in March, 10 times in April, and 11 times in May. So I've really been using this. I don't love it, but it's also a very easy thing to just like throw on, even if I don't have a mirror. So I've been trying to do that, always keep it in my bag and reapply it almost like it's lip balm. It's not lip balm, it's not as hydrating as a lip balm, but it is quite hydrating, so I can easily do that. And with 31 out of 50 uses, so far, I'm not worried about this at all. I'm going to reach the 50 uses and I'm probably going to extend it even more. Maybe even try and finish it. I don't know. I just said that I was overwhelmed by trying to finish this. I'm going to add myself the pressure of finishing another lip product. But this one is, like, the bullet is much smaller. So, but yeah, this is where we are right now. We are starting to rub off that top of the K there. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see how it looks in the next update. And lastly, we have my perfume, the only perfume I have in the project. This tiny thing is taking a lot longer than I thought, which doesn't make much sense because I have used it a bunch of times. So I used it 6 times in February, 10 times in March, 13 times in April, and 11 times in May for a total of 40 uses. My goal is to finish it, but the thing is that it is quite overpowering. It smells quite strong. I only need the tiniest bit, so I can't overspray this one. I have to be careful or I'm just going to give myself a headache. But yeah, this is where we are at the moment. I think last update we were somewhere around here. So that's good. That's a good progress. And the thing is that I don't love this in the summer. I think it's a little too strong for the summer. And also I'm about to have a baby, so I'm not going to be wearing perfume all that much in the summer. But anyway, I'll see what I can do. We'll have to see. And there we have it. That is the update for the month of April and the month of May on my project pan. Again, apologies that I'm not giving you out monthly updates, but it's been hard and I'm just more comfortable, giving an update when I feel like I'm ready and not pressuring myself into giving an update on the 31st or the 1st of each month, because that's just not realistic. I think that the goal is to see that I am using the products and share updates every now and then with you guys. I know that a lot of you are waiting for these updates because I do get comments sometimes. Just know that it's not always going to be monthly because sometimes I just find it hard to do, but I will try to do it at least every couple of months so that we don't lose track. But I am using the products and I am keeping track. And that's what's important in Project Pan. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, let me know down in the comments below how your Project Pan is going because I love to hear about it. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.